The chair now recognizes the gentleman from Iowa, Mr. Braley, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to applaud you and the ranking member for holding this important hearing. It's really an honor to have you here today, Mr. Strickland. We haven't met before, and you have an important responsibility that is too often kept on the back pages of most newspapers and magazines. And it's only when something dramatic like these Toyota recall hearings comes up that the public starts to understand the critical role that your agency plays. You look to me like you're a young man, so I don't know if you know where you were on December 2nd, 1994, but I know where I was. I was not sitting in that chair, even though I was supposed to be sitting in that chair, because I was supposed to be testifying that day in a recall hearing on side saddle fuel tank explosions involving CK General Motors pickup trucks. And I did not get the opportunity to testify because a settlement was reached that day between your agency and the Secretary of Transportation and General Motors, whereby $51 million was paid for supposed consumer safety programs so that the recall hearing would not go forward, where people like me would have an opportunity to talk about the impact on human lives of defects that do not get solved. And I was going to testify that day about a client of mine, a young woman in Iowa, who had the right side of her face burned off when the pickup truck she was riding in was involved in a collision, and the pickup rolled over on its side, and because of the placement of those fuel tanks outside the frame rails, the flames went up the side of that pickup truck and engulfed her face in flames. And her husband, who was driving the pickup truck, pulled her young son, who was seated between them, through the broken windshield and got him to safety. And when he went back to try to rescue his wife, he reached in to grab her and pulled out big chunks of her hair that had burned off in the fire. And he went back to his son and told him, "Mommy is in heaven now." But miraculously, this brave young woman survived and went through months and years of grueling, painful skin grafts, hair transplants, and incredible disfigurement because of that defect. And when we gather for these hearings, we spend a lot of time talking in very arcane, technical language about sudden unanticipated acceleration and electronic control safety devices, but we rarely talk about the human impact of the failure to act. And so when you think about the important responsibilities your agency has, it's important not just to think about where we are today and where you're going to take that agency going forward. It's important to look backwards at the legacy of this agency and why there are some people who feel it has not fulfilled its responsibility to keep the American public safe. So I look forward to the opportunity to have a meaningful, long-term conversation with you about the important responsibilities you have, and I look forward to hearing your testimony today as we work together to get to the bottom of this unexplained problem. And I yield back.